All right, y'all. So, my husband and I recently checked out a learning program for our toddler here in Bangkok, Thailand. And I wanted to share the full experience, including like the cost, because I know that there are a lot of families who are either living abroad, thinking about moving abroad, or wondering what childcare and schooling options may look like outside of the US. And I especially wanted to share this from the perspective of a mom who is not just looking at the price, right? I'm also looking at environment, I'm looking at development, I'm looking at emotional safety, I'm looking at what makes sense for our child, our family, our schedule or values, and the lifestyle that we are building while living abroad. So, for context, our son is 2.5. He just turned 2.5. Right now, we homeschool him, right, at home. We have books, we have learning charts, we have an entire little, homeschooling and activity area set up for him. We also have a full-time nanny who helps support us with him during the week and some weekends, right? So technically, we did not need like daycare or outside childcare. We did not need a nursery. We did not need somewhere to put him all day long. And honestly, even when we lived in the US, I never really loved the idea of daycare for him. Not because I think every daycare is bad, but for me, I always wanted him to have more individualized attention. I wanted to know what was happening through the day. I wanted him to be in an environment where people understood him, where he was not just another child in the room, especially at an age where he can't really speak up or defend himself. And I know every family is different. Some families need full time care, some families have two parents working outside the home. Some families have one parent doing most of the things or everything, right, by themselves, right? Single parent household. And some parents do not have family support nearby. And some parents cannot afford like in home help. So I understand that there are different family dynamics. So I'm not here to shame anyone. I am not telling you what to do with your child. I am simply sharing our thought process, our experience, and the options we have seen while living here in Thailand, specifically Bangkok, Thailand. After living in Bangkok for about a year and a half, and now that our son is getting a little bit older, I started thinking about, maybe he could benefit from being around other children more consistently. Not because we thought he needed to be in a school all day. Because here's the thing, we do take him to play and learn groups, other programs at least like once or twice per week or so, plus like swimming and different things like that. So he is not always at home. It's not like he's just at home every day. Okay. But we started to consider a little bit more structure, a little bit more consistency with being around other children and other people. We started to wonder if he needed a little more social interaction, right? A little more exposure to other children. So we did our research and we found a local learning program near us. It was bilingual. They speak Thai and English as well. And the price was actually really good, you guys. Now, international schools in Thailand can definitely be an investment. Depending on the school, the age of your child, and the type of program, you can easily be looking at several hundreds of dollars per month or more. So when we found this local option, it felt very affordable comparing to what a lot of international style programs may cost. Again, even though I'm really pro homeschool, that's always been the goal, even since being in the US. But because the school system is somewhat different over here, we were somewhat considering some type of program. Now, this particular program that we found was more like a learning center slash like nursery style program. And the full-time option was from about 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, Monday through Friday for about 8,000 Thai baht per month, which is about like 250 USD. You have to pay like a deposit. That's like 3,000 Thai baht, which is only around like $90 deposit that you get back whenever you choose to stop sending your child there. So not bad for a Monday through, like if you compare it to the US, okay? Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. I think that's a pretty decent deal for working parents, right? They also had weekend programs and other options. So at first we were thinking, okay, maybe we could do 3 days a week instead of five, because 5 days a week from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. just felt like a lot, especially for a toddler, right? Our son is 2.5, like I mentioned before. And at this age, sleep still matters. It matters so much, right? Toddlers still need a lot of rest. Yes, they do have like nap times there at the program center. But I don't know how well he would sleep there because he's used to sleeping in his own bed, different things like that. And getting up early on top of that just sounded like a lot. Now we do our bedtime routine somewhere between 6:30 p.m. We start doing it to about like 8 p.m. Right? We're doing story time, bath time, and all of that. So it's a whole routine. So that's from about 6:30 p.m. to about 8 p.m. But sometimes he does not actually fall asleep until like after 9 p.m. So the thought of waking him up super early every morning and rushing him out the door just did not sit right with me. And to be honest, it would have also disrupted our schedule too, right? One of the things that I love about our life here, right, now living abroad, is that we have slow mornings. Okay. My husband and I, we work from home, we run our businesses from home. I do not have to wake up every morning in panic mode, rushing to get everybody dressed, rushing out the door, sitting in traffic, rushing to do breakfast and feeling stressed before the day even starts, right? I really truly value that because I remember what life used to be like when I was like always rushing, to get out the door. So that was one of the first things that made me really think, right? But then they told us that we did not have to drop him off at 7 every single day, that we were able to drop him off like around 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. 7 a.m. is really when they do like breakfast and different things like that. And I was like, okay, that that made me feel a little bit more better. I was like, that makes a little bit more sense. And while we were there were different things that we liked. Right? There were definitely things that we liked. There was also another little girl who looked like my son. She was another Black girl. And I remember thinking, okay, I love that he would see some diversity in the room. Okay, someone else or a few other children that looks like him. They also help with potty training, which is a plus. Okay, they have them wear like training pants and different things like that as well. And they washes your clothes there if they mess up and different things like that. They also do not do screen time, which I love because we do not do screen time at home either with our toddler. They also have story time. They do story time, they do reading. They, of course, have playtime, indoor and outdoor playtime, depending on the weather. They had some structure, they had a routine, right? And they do meals and healthy snacks like fruits sometimes and different things like that. But I didn't like the idea that she was saying that they did like different cakes and um, sometimes they do like cakes and stuff like that. Depends on like if they're celebrating birthday. Honestly, you guys, our son does not eat like cakes, cookies, sweets. He does not eat sweets at all. And so I don't even want to introduce him to that now. Okay. That's for another topic. All right. But I know what it can be like when a child gets addicted to things like that early on. But that was not the major concern. Also, the owner seemed kind. She was in her 30s, I believe. She looked like she was in her 30s. She was the owner, and she was a person that we spoke with, and her son also goes there. He's around 4. One of her sons go there. S So it's not like we felt like, these were bad people or it was a bad environment or anything like that, or they did not mean well. But after we left and had some time to sit with it, my husband and I just both felt uneasy, not necessarily at the exact time, like together. But after like we came together, my husband told me what he was thinking, and I was like, oh, I was thinking the same thing, right? We both came back to the same feeling. And for us as believers, we do believe that God gives us discernment, right? And we just felt convinced that this was not the space for him, at least not right now. Again, not because it was necessarily bad or a bad place, not because they were bad people, not because the price was high. In fact, the price was really good. It was really affordable, especially when you, again, compare it to the US. But because based on the setup that we already have at home, it just started to feel pointless for us. At home, he has freedom, right? He can play in the cupboards and just be free, roam around in different rooms. He can move around. He can be in the kitchen with us sometimes. Sometimes I'm maybe making something and I'll teach him or have him involved, in the cooking process a little bit. He can play with safe little random things, right? And, just do things that toddlers love to do. He can go outside, ride his bike with his nanny, jump on the trampoline that we have outside. He can just be free, right? He can interact with us also throughout the day. We get to kind of interact with him throughout the day, not every second, not every hour of the day, because again, we're either working or resting, right? Because of our schedule. But he at least gets to interact with us at some point during the day. And he gets that personalized care. He gets that one-on-one attention. And I know that might sound small, but for a toddler, that is their world, literally. They are learning through movement. They are learning through curiosity. They're learning through watching you. They are learning through copying you. You may notice that your toddler may repeat things that you say, or they try to mimic or do things that you do. They are learning through following you around the house, right? Repeating everything that you say. And that was something that I kept thinking about. At this age, your child's main influence is not necessarily a classroom or their friends. It is literally you, and there's research that backs this up. It is the people who are consistently with them. It is the safe, loving, responsible relationships around them. And again, research supports this, right? That in the early years, right, the early relationships matter so much for brain development. There's something called serve and return, which is basically the back and forth interaction between a young child and a caring adult. So the child makes a sound, for example, right? They point at something, they reach at something, they ask questions, they look, they react, and the adult responds. Those little moments may seem small, but they are actually helping build the child's brain. It's building the child's language, social skills, emotional development, and sense of safety. And so for us, we realized that he already gets so much of that at home. So then we had to ask ourselves, are we trying to put him in this program because he truly needs it? Or are we putting pressure on ourselves because we think he is supposed to be in something more structured by now, right? Based on the standards or the social standards. And that is where I had to slow down, because I think that sometimes as parents, we hear the word socialization and we start to panic, right? We think, oh my gosh, my child needs to be around other children all the time or every day. And yes, being around other kids, being around other children can be great. It can help them practice sharing, taking turns, listening to another adult, being in group environments and getting used to other children. But at 2 and 2.5, a lot of toddlers are still very much in their own world, you guys. Even when we take our son to like play groups, story time, or toddler activities, he may notice the other children, but a lot of the time he's still just doing his own thing. He's playing with his excavator, he's playing with his cars, he's exploring the room, he's looking at the toys. And especially when my husband takes him, he's looking to my husband. He's looking at his dad for reassurance, like, can I do this? Or did you see me do this? He's not looking at the other kids like, oh, did you see me do this? Can I do this? He's looking at his dad. He's looking to his dad because his dad is his biggest influence. Okay. He may observe another child or play near them, but he's not necessarily going there like, where are my friends? Let's all play together, at that age, right? Eventually children get there. I'm talking about like his age. And so when I watch other toddlers, a lot of them are the same way. They may play beside each other, or they may look, a little bit, or they may copy each other a little bit. They may interact here and there, but it is not always the big social experience that adults sometimes imagine it to be. So we realize that he does not necessarily need a full-time nursery style program just to get socialization. What may work better for him is what we already have, what we're already doing, plus more intentional outside activities. So, home as the foundation, mommy and daddy nearby, his nanny for support that he's, used to for over a year now, almost 2 years, his books, his learning materials, his routine, his free play, his imagination, his environment, okay, his safe space. And then outside of that, we can continue taking him to play groups, story time, swimming, toddler classes, and different activities where he can get to be around other children without being away from home all day, every day, or most days of the week. And this is one of the things that I really love about living in Bangkok, right? There are so many resources here for children. There are play groups, there are learning play groups, there are storytime programs, there are swimming programs, there are activity-based programs, gymnastics style programs, football, soccer. There are cooking classes. There are STEM and STEAM activities, which STEAM, they add the A here, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. There are music classes. There are arts and craft, right? There are nature-based and agricultural activities. Some programs start from as early as like 18 months, some earlier. It depends on what the program is. And a lot of them do not require you to commit to a full-time school schedule. Some are weekly. Some are just a drop in, like every week you book it by the week, right? Some are, 2-hour programs, maybe on a Saturday. Some are small group activities where our child gets to play, listen to stories, do water activities, interact with other children, and then come back home. And for us, that feels more aligned, to be honest, because we can still homeschool. We can still have him at home. We can still protect our slow mornings, and we can still keep that personalized care and be his main influence. But he can also get out into the world. He can still learn from other adults. He can still be around other children. He can still experience activities that maybe we are not the best at teaching ourselves. That is the beauty of it. So homeschooling does not have to mean your child is just sitting at home all day, every day doing worksheets, right? Especially at 2.5. Okay. At this age, it does not need hours and hours of formal academics. A little intentional time, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the day. And then the rest of the day can just play, it's movements, it's books, music, outside time, imagination, helping around the house, and just real life learning. And I realized that I love that for our son. So instead of putting him in a structural full-time program right now, I don't even think honestly in the next few years we would even put him in a structured program, just because we realized that, oh, we can just put him in the things that he's interested in while we homeschool. Okay. And so what we decided to do is just continue with our homeschool plan, and then add more activities throughout the week, like the swimming, the cooking classes, the planner learn stuff, the plan learn groups. Okay. And I like that because it gives us flexibility as well as parents when it comes to travel and different things like that. If we decided to, let's say, in a couple months go to Vietnam, we can just go to Vietnam and continue with our homeschooling. And while he's in Vietnam, he can do all the things that I mentioned earlier, the swimming, the different play groups, the STEM programs or STEAM programs, right? We're not locked into a rigid schedule. We're not rushing him out the door every morning. I don't want that to be normal for him. Okay. uh, we'll get into that in another video, the leaving home to rush to building a structured place. I don't want that to be the norm. We are not putting him somewhere for long hours just because it is affordable, right? Oh, another reason why we're thinking of that, to be honest, also is because we're expecting baby number two. And we were just trying to figure out if somehow it would be good to have or toddler out of the house for a few hours of the day, but it still turned out not to not be the better option. Okay. We're choosing what actually fits him. And that is really the main thing I want to share in this video. If you are a family thinking about moving abroad, especially to a place like Thailand, just or somewhere in Southeast Asia, wherever, I want you to know that you may have more options than you think. You do not only have to choose between an expensive international school or nothing. You may be able to find an affordable local nursery or program. You may be able to find a bilingual program. You may be able to hire an in-home nanny care or in-home tutor, maybe. We thought about that too. We may maybe do that part-time as well. You may be able to homeschool and supplement with activities. And you may also be able to, uh, you know, do a mixture of like play groups, sports, learning centers, weekend programs, and part-time options. And depending on your family, one option may make more sense than the other. If both parents work long hours, a nursery that goes until, the evening may be exactly what your family needs for a season, possibly, right? And, if you work from home and want more personalized care, a nanny may make more sense for you. So it really depends, right? If you are homeschooling, then play groups and activity based programs may give your child the extra social interaction that you're looking for. And if a local program is more affordable for your family, you can look into that too. Okay. Just keep in mind that some very local programs may mostly speak the local language in that country. Some may be bilingual, some may have more English support than others. So that is something that you would have to weigh based on your child, based on your goals, based on your comfort level. But my biggest encouragement here is this: do what is best for your child, do what is best for your family. Do not let pressure make the decision for you, okay? Do not feel the pressure, I should say, actually, from the outside world and what our parents are doing. Do not feel like your toddler has to be in school all day, okay, as soon as they turn 2 or 3 or even 4, just because other people are doing it. And also, do not feel guilty if your child does need to be in a full-time program or need full-time care, because that is what allows your family to work and provide and function right now, okay? Every family has a different reality. For us, after visiting this program, we just realized it was not the right fit for our son right now. Okay. There were things again that we liked, but we just did not like the idea of him being away from home so many hours. And I had so many questions when I was there. Oh my gosh, I was that parent that was asking her all the questions. How do you know that this? How do we ensure that this? What do you do if this happens? What if that happens? All of these different things. And like with meals and stuff, he's very particular about what he eats. He does not eat the standard American diet, okay? He's a very healthy eater. He's eating his watermelons and dragon fruits and guavas and different things like that in the morning and his veggies. He mostly eats a whole food diet, So he eats pretty healthy and he doesn't do like candies, like I said, and sweets and all these different things. So I had all of these questions and concerns because I think at this age we want to have as much control over what he eats. Also, just his natural taste buds. If I'm going to be honest, I remember one time we at church we took him to the children's church group thing, and it was Easter or something, and they were giving out chocolate, and they gave him the chocolate and he spit it out, and we didn't know about this until after the fact. They were telling us, and they were wondering why he spit out the chocolate. So different things like that. I'm like, he does not eat chocolate. So our child, he is, I don't know what is with his taste buds, but he will sit and drink a green juice. Okay. He will drink some spirulina water. Like he's that type of child. I don't think his taste buds is not the average 2-year old palate. I should say his palate is just a little bit different. So I was asking a bunch of questions like, oh, if we could bring stuff that he may eat, like he likes tempeh, and different things like that. But all in all, you guys, as I said, we realized that because of the support system that we already have at home, that it just did not make sense for us. So we're choosing a different route and we're choosing home as a foundation and activities as supplement. And that's one of the things that I love about living abroad, you guys, because living abroad is not just about, cheaper rent or food or travel. It's really about a lifestyle, right? It's about having unique options. It is about being able to build a life that actually fits your family and that supports your family. It is about being able to slow down, be present, and choose based on what aligns with your goals. And I know that, again, it is not everyone's reality, but if you are considering moving abroad, especially with children, I want you to know that there are options. You can research, right? Do your research local nurseries, childcare options, bilingual programs, nanny care. You can research playgroups. You can research weekend activities for children, research homeschool friendly options. You can build a rhythm that works for your family. And that rhythm does not have to look like everybody else's. Okay. So that was our experience visiting a local learning program here in Bangkok. And I wanted to share the pros, the cons, what we liked, what made us rethink it, and why we ultimately decided not to move forward with that option, at least not right now. Again, not because it was bad, but it just did not align. Okay. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes you just don't need a dramatic reason. Sometimes your spirit just says, this is not it, or now is not the time, just like everything else. And you just listen. You just listen. Because at the end of the day, your child is your child. You know their rhythm, you know their needs, you know your family, and you get to choose the option that gives you the most peace. All right, beautiful people. If you did like this episode, if you did like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe, right? So this is my new channel over here, Life with Tribivia, where I'm sharing more raw life abroad type of content, living abroad type of content with my family. Okay, my journey to with living abroad over here, especially in Southeast Asia. And so, if you are loving this content, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The goal is to get to at least 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Can we do it? Can we do it, you guys? I also have an entire playlist, so be sure to go back to watch that. I have some vlogs on there and some other like sit down chit chat videos on the channel like this. So again, consider subscribing to the channel, all right? So that I can continue to create more content like this. It's your girl, Shy Bivia. It was an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Be blessed.